All right, we're in Zephaniah 2. I wanted to point this out to you. We're going to read this because I think we're seeing this happen right now before our eyes. So, Zephaniah 2 in the Old Testament, it says, shameless nation, come to your senses. Before you are driven away like chaff blown by the wind, before the burning anger of the Lord comes upon you, before the day when he shows his fury. Turn to the Lord, all you humble people of the land who obey his commands. Do what is right and humble yourselves before the Lord. Perhaps you will escape punishment on the day when the Lord shows his anger. No one will be left in the city of Gaza. Where does that sound familiar from? That's what's happening right now. Trump has made the statement that we are going to acquire Gaza, right? No one, and he's made the offer to move them. He's currently negotiating deals, and we're going to look at his meeting with the king of Jordan today, how that is well on its way, right? So Trump has said that we're going to take this over, and I think this is a fulfillment of Zephaniah 4. No one will be left in the city of Gaza. Ashkelon will be deserted. The people of Ashdod will be driven out in a half a day. So that's going to be something to look for coming as a fulfillment if they're driven out in half a day. And the people of Ekron will be driven from their city. You Philistines are doomed. You people who live along the coast, the Lord has passed sentence on you. He will destroy you, and not one of you will be left. Your land by the sea will become open fields with shepherds' huts and sheep's pens. The people of Judah who survive will occupy your land. They will pasture their flocks there and sleep in the houses of Ashkelon. The Lord their God will be with them and make them prosper. The Lord Almighty says, I have heard the people of Moab and Ammon insulting and taunting my people and boasting that they would seize their land. As surely as I am the living Lord, the God of Israel, I swear that Moab and Ammon are going to be destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. They will become a place of salt pits and everlasting ruin, overgrown with weeds. Those of my people who survive will plunder them and take their land. That is how the people of Moab and Ammon will be punished for their pride and arrogance, and for insulting the people of the Lord Almighty. The Lord will terrify them. He will reduce the gods of the earth to nothing, and then every nation will worship him, each in his own land. All right, let's stop there. This reminded me of 1 Thessalonians 5. But concerning the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I should write you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon the pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. I'm wondering if this isn't actually tied to what is happening in Gaza right now, because they have been dropping those terms left and right, peace and safety. Trump has given a deadline of this Saturday. So that's so it's Tuesday now, Tuesday, February 11th. So you've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They've only got 4 days left before. I'm wondering if there's not, we've always interpreted this with the story, because everybody seems to think they know how prophecy is to unfold, but you don't until it happens. They've been looking for this as like the rapture, or when the Antichrist takes power. What if this is when maybe they just bomb the crap out of Gaza if they refuse to leave, right? Because if you come back here to Zephaniah 4, no one will be left in the city of Gaza. Ashkelon will be deserted. The people of Ashdod will be driven out in a half a day. What if that's in 4 days? What if that is this Saturday? And the people of Ekron will be driven from their city. You Philistines are doomed. Go back to how this started. Shameless nation, come to your senses before you are driven away like chaff blown by the wind, before the burning anger of the Lord comes upon you, before the day when he shows his fury. Turn to the Lord, all you humble people of the land, obey his commands. Do what is right and humble yourselves before the Lord. Perhaps you will escape punishment on the day when the Lord shows his anger. Remember that the two witnesses have power to turn water to blood, right? We read that in Revelation 11. The fire proceeds from their mouths, and if anyone wants to harm them, they must be killed in this manner. These have power to shut heaven so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy, and they have power over the waters to turn them to blood and to strike the earth with all plagues as often as they desire. What if that's them making good on the threats? Release the hostages or else. All right, with that in mind, I want you to look at this conversation with Trump and the king of Jordan, because he is the first to start taking action on helping those in Gaza. Here we go.
Mr. President, why should the king take in the Palestinian people? He's made clear he doesn't want to.
Well, I don't know, but he may have just something to say, because we discussed just briefly. I think maybe you want to say it now, or?
Well, Mr. President, I think we have to keep in mind that there is a plan from Egypt and the Arab countries. We're being invited by Mohammed bin Salman to discussions in Riyadh. I think the point is how do we make this work in a way that is good for everybody? Right. Obviously, we have to look at the best interests of the United States, of the people in the region, especially to my people of Jordan. And we're going to have some interesting discussions today. I think one of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in a very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on the Gaza challenges.
Okay, so just to reiterate, so this is the king of Jordan. He has offered to take in 2,000 children who have cancer and who are ill, who are currently in Gaza. So this is a step in that direction of freeing them, of removing the people from Gaza. And he also said that they're waiting on Egypt and the Arab nations to also, make an effort. I don't know if you saw this video. This is what I thought of. This is from 7 years ago. In Saudi Arabia actually has a tent city with 100,000 tents that can house between 3 and 4 million people. And they only use these 5 days out of the year. So and I'm wondering if Trump isn't thinking about this, because this came up 7 years ago. I'm wondering if he's not thinking about this as a location for the Gazan people to move. Remember, shameless people come to your senses. So if they come to their senses, this could be a location where they could go, because he keeps saying they'll be very happy if they make the decision. So check this out.
Has 100,000 air-conditioned tents that could house 3 million people. They could house 4 million people. This sits in Mina. It is only used for 5 days out of the year for the pilgrimage to Mecca. Besides that, it sits there as a ghost town, and it is absolutely massive.
So that's the potential. They have a place that they can actually go. Let's continue listening to Trump here as he talks about, he's a builder, right? Yeshua was a carpenter. We previously compared, looking at the Zerubbabel who lays the foundation and the Zerubbabel who puts the capstone on. It's entirely possible that Trump is the Zerubbabel who puts the capstone on. Am I calling him Yeshua or the Messiah? No. Well, Messiah from the perspective that Messiah simply means anointed. It simply means to be anointed from God. And if you really get down to it, it means to be covered with oil. We saw that prayer about him, the gentleman praying for Trump to be anointed, and that he would proceed not by power, not by might or by power, but by his Spirit. Guys, we're looking at prophecy being fulfilled. So let's listen. Let's continue listening.
So
I want to tell you, excuse me, wait, just please. I didn't know that, what you just said, 2,000 children with cancer or other problems. And that's really a beautiful gesture. That's really good, and we appreciate it. And we'll be working on the rest with Egypt. I think you're going to see some great progress. I think with Jordan, you're going to see some great progress. three of us, and we'll have some others helping, and we're going to have some others at a very high level helping, and the whole thing will come. It's not a complex thing to do. And with the United States being in control of that piece of land, a fairly large piece of land, you're going to have stability in the Middle East for the first time. And the Palestinians, or the people that live now in Gaza, will be living beautifully in another location. They're going to be living safely. They're not going to be...
See, they're living beautifully in another location. I think he's thinking about that tent city, right? Because, I mean, if you think about it, it's a temporary relocation. So many people are angry about this, that he's kicking people out of this land. It could be a temporary situation to move people to some place of safety so that they can survive, so that Israel can get their hostages back, and so that he as a builder can go in and... You know what? Maybe that when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, maybe that sudden destruction is demolition of Gaza so that they can rebuild, right? Because there's munitions there, there's tunnels there that are unsafe. Maybe they need to blow the crap out of it, right? In order to prepare it to build so that then the Gazans can come back should they desire to. And he actually makes that statement to where somebody had asked him if it's a permanent relocation. He said he expects them to come back and work there.
Killed, murdered, and having to leave every 10 years, because I've been watching this for so many years. It's nothing but trouble. Everyone's being killed. They're being robbed. It's like living in hell. And they're going to end up having a great home, great families that don't have to get mugged and killed and beaten up and harassed by Hamas and everybody else. And I know we'll be able to work something. And what you just said about the 2000 is fantastic. It's so beautiful. It's music to my ears. But we're going to be able to work something, and I know we'll be able to work something also with I believe, not 100%, but 99%. We're going to work out something with Egypt.
But
Mr. President, during your election campaign,
Mr. President, how is the U.S. going to own Gaza? Your White House has made clear taxpayer dollars won't be used for this. So what money are you going to use to buy Gaza?
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace, and there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it. And we're going to run it very properly, and eventually we'll have economic development at a very large scale, maybe the largest scale on that site. And we'll have lots of good things built there, including hotels and office buildings and housing and other things. And we'll make that site into what it should be. And the people from Gaza who wouldn't be able to be there for years, because you're talking about just to get it and prepare it and to take care of all of the problems that currently it has, as you know, tunnels, and people are in those tunnels. And you have some good people and some bad people, and you may have hostages right now. You know, you have the hostages possibly there. They don't know where they are. And, you know, I have a Saturday deadline, and I don't think they're going to make the deadline personally. I think they want to play tough guy, but we'll see how tough they are. But it's going to be a wonderful thing. It's going to be wonderful for the Middle East. I think it'll turn the Middle East. I think you're going to have peace in the Middle East. You're going to eventually have peace in the Middle East.
Couldn't this deadline risk undermining the talks that you're having with the king today, and risk the kind of wider peace that you're trying to?
Because we're not talking about a big situation. We're talking about something that can go very quickly. We're talking about it's going to go quickly. It's not going to take a long time.
Maybe a half a day. Wouldn't that be interesting? Move them out in a half a day.
Okay. That's not going to take a long time. You know bullies? You know what a bully is, right? You know the bully, I've always, and I found it throughout my life, a bully is the weakest person. And they're bullies. Hamas is bullies. The weakest people are bullies. You know that, right? All right, go ahead.
Mr. President, you were saying...
All right, we're going to end it there. I just wanted to show you that there's this brewing situation that looks like it might be fulfillment with Zephaniah 4. God bless you guys. Shalom, shalom. Next video we're going to look at is Elon Musk and Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Do some commentary on that. God bless you guys. Shalom.